like to dedicate this episode of the exit interview to Alicia Armour, principal of Overland High School in Aurora, Colorado. Alicia, this episode is for you.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Exit Interview. I am Kevin Adams, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Asia Lyons. How you doing today, Asia?
I'm feeling great.
Feeling great. All right, that's what's up. How's your weekend been?
I can't complain. It's been warm. Dealing with some rough things this morning, but it's not been so bad. Not bad.
Yes. All right. Well, folks, welcome back to the Exit Interview. Remember, you can follow us at touted Teachers on Instagram and Twitter, and you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/touted Teachers and a mic. Our email address is touteteachers@gmail.com. You can also listen to us on Apple, Spotify, Spotify. You like how I said that? I put it together like it's the same thing. Apple and Spotify podcast, or at mrmunoz.org. If you do listen to us on Apple, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really does help others find us and get our content out. Finally, if you want to support us financially, podcasting ain't free, y'all. Head over to the Patreon/touted Teachers, where you can become a patron for just $5 a month. And the next 5, and we're probably running out on this, so get in there quick. But the next 5 $15 patrons will receive a copy of Cornelius Miner's incredible book, We Got This.
That's awesome. Hurry up, because we're running out of books.
That's it. Get in there. So you can get it. All right, Asia. So we are here for episode 3 of the Exit Interview. Would you like to go ahead and introduce our guests for this episode?
All right. So today, episode 3, Donna is here, Donna Druery. We're going to just say Donna, if that's okay. She's all the way from Texas, telling her story, giving us her exit interview about her experience in education, how her family was there for her, support her or not, and friends, and then where she's doing now. So Donna, just go ahead and take it away. Tell us about a little bit about yourself and kind of some of the situation around when you decided it was time for you to leave the classroom.
Hello, everybody. Howdy, as we say from Texas A&M University. I am Donna Druery, and I'm so excited to be here today and talking with you all. I will tell you that I am just a little bit of background. So I was teacher, English language arts teacher. I taught at the high school level. And then after that, I spent about 11 years as an assistant principal. Okay. And so about 15 years total in education. I had actually, as I think back on it, my years of teaching, I absolutely enjoyed. Enjoyed the students, enjoyed teaching. And I was, I think in my second year of teaching, when I was tapped to be the team leader for our English language arts group, which everybody had more experience than I did, but they tapped me to do that, to become the 9th grade English language arts leader. I accepted with the caveat that my teacher, one of my mentors, would also co-lead with me. So we both were co-lead teachers. And then the third year of my teaching, I was tapped for a Grow Your Own program to become administrators, right? So that's how I got into the administrative field. I was already did my master's degree at Sam Houston, Eat 'em Up Cats, and so at the end of that, I actually got a position, applied for and received a position at a middle school. Oh my gosh. When a person, an individual goes from being cheered and all kinds of opportunities and doors open till we don't even want to go to lunch with you kind of thing. That was such a I guess a eye-opening experience. It was a setback. It was something that I don't think I was prepared for. And let me say this about the middle school was previously a high school, and it was in the city, an all-white high school. And in fact, if you took a picture from overhead, and there are pictures, the school was built in a W for white, right? And
oh wow.
It was at that time before integration, right? That all of that happened. So now transition when I got in to the administrative role. It's now middle school. It is predominantly Hispanic now, Latinx community. So it's just basically switched. However, of course, the teachers were predominantly Caucasian. Just had some issues right off the bat. We had, just for example, we had a graduation ceremony every year. Before I got there, they did it. So I was over 7th graders one year, 8th graders the next. So the year that I was over 8th graders, one of the individuals in the school pulled me aside that morning. We're having our 8th grade graduation. And I'm telling you that it is like graduating from college almost. Those kids showed up in suits and ties and formal wear.
Oh wow.
I've seen it.
Grandpa was there, aunts and uncles, they brought flowers. I mean, it was a huge deal for them to graduate from 8th grade. And one of the individuals, one of the staff, pulled me aside and said, by the way, some of the parents have asked if you, when they give, so the principal, let me set the stage. The 8th grade principal gave out the certificates. So the principal is calling out the names. The 8th grade principal is there. They're handing them their certificate of graduation from 8th grade. And they stop, and just like they do in all graduations, they take pictures and then the child exits the stage, right? Well, I got pulled aside and said, by the way, the parents want you to know if you will turn your back to the audience and as you give the diploma.
What?
Where do they do that at?
Yeah.
That has never happened, and it would not happen with me.
No.
And so I don't, so moving on, I was like, I'm not doing that. So I had a couple of parents who, so a lot of the parents took their pictures, the child exited off the stage. I had a few parents, maybe 2 or 3, that waited until their child got off stage and then was like, wait right there, let me take your picture as they exited the stage so I wouldn't be in the picture.
Wow.
Part right there. Yeah. Complete. Had I not, this is what happened that morning. I want to say this. So I had my morning prayer time, right? And the Holy Spirit, I don't know if you believe or not believe, but I do.
Yes.
The Spirit said to me, you will be discriminated against this morning. And I was like, discriminated? Just like I was discriminated. That's such a strong word. And surely enough, as the day progressed, it was like you've already received your warning, your information, so act accordingly. So when it happened, I wasn't even shocked because I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when or what it was going to be about.
Yeah.
So the only thing I told this person was, where do they do that at? Like, you've attended graduations from you and I both have graduated from A&M. We've attended multiple. We've never seen that done, and I'm not going to do that today. But thanks. And
what did they say? What was the response?
So what I ascertained later was that 2 or 3 of the parents had asked the principal to have me do that, and she passed the buck to somebody else. And the reason I believe that happened is because when I stopped by later, I had to pass her office to get to mine. She's in there just boo-hoo crying, just crying. And because she didn't want to be in that spot, she didn't want to be in that position. So they asked, she was the dean at the time, and they'd asked her to do it. And the very next year she left. Like a year or so later, she got out of there.
So instead of her saying no to the parent, she just kind of passed the responsibility on to someone else to tell you that.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because I believe that the parents came and asked her, and she passed the buck. So that was one of the first things. And then it got to where no matter what I would say in the meetings, I would be second guessed, or like we would go into the meetings. We had meetings every week, and here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. So on. We'd lay all that out. And then, this person, you covered this part at the faculty meeting. This person, you covered this. And Donna, you covered this. Okay, no problem. So when it came time for me to cover my part per se, this principal would say, after I said, okay, teachers, we're going to do X, Y, Z, exactly what we said in the meeting, she would say, we're not doing that in front of the entire faculty. And that would be like, well, that's exactly what we talked about. So it became this part that we don't have to listen to her because it's like she doesn't ever know what she's talking about. So it really became, when you go to work every day and it's something like that, every single day. So I got quiet. I refused to participate in the meetings. I would literally take notes on my computer. I would come in and say, good morning, because 7 a.m. we had our meeting. Good morning, put out my computer and start taking notes. Well, what do you all think about this? I wouldn't give them a think about anything.
Yep.
I had just boards and walls is what I was. Like, I'm not. And I refused to speak in front of the faculty after that, and refused to lead professional development. Not necessarily refuse.
Yep.
But just, no. You all go ahead. Y'all got it. You got it.
Yep.
Several things transpired that turned that around. Really and truly, several things transpired. We had a a couple of other people who were hired, and they called me on it. Mr. Rick, can you come to our office? And so they had started coming to the meeting because they were on instructional staff. And I would talk to them after, and they said, we see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But even in the meetings, if I would say something, no, we're not doing that. But the guy next to me could, in the course of the conversation, would say the
Exact same thing.
And it was the best thing since sliced bread.
Of course.
The best thing. So all of this stuff transpired. And so they said, we know exactly what's happening. Here's what we're going to do. And they said, so you have some awesome ideas. Like, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? You have some awesome ideas. So here's going to play this game. And these were two white females.
That's what I was curious. I was wondering.
Yeah, me too.
Beg your pardon?
Oh, I was just saying, I was curious if what the race of the teachers were who came to you.
Yes, two white females that they was not playing the game, and so we made a deal. And now keep in mind, my trust factor is not very high, so I got to check them out at the time. But we're still really good friends. We ended up trusting each other. But they said, you present your idea, and whatever we're talking about, you present your idea, and we already know she's going to shoot it down. So what's going to happen is when it circles back around, I'm going to say, one of them would say, I'm going to say, back to Donna's idea, I think that'll work. And then the other one say, yeah, I like this or that. And that's my vote kind of thing. Because I really good things, but I'm not, so I would talk to them in private about it. So that's what we did. They said, what do we need to do? Just say we're going to have a school dance. It doesn't have to be major. I'm just saying, just say we're going to, or how to do testing, how testing should look. And I would say, well, why don't we do X? No, I don't know if that's a good idea. That would be the principal. So one of the other individuals would say, well, wait a minute, let's talk about that. Because I think if we did this or that, I think that would work. Oh, okay. Well, what do you have to say about it? Well, I think X, Y, Z. And she would say the same thing I would say. And the principal was, that's a great idea.
Can I say something, Donna? That I'm just thinking about? Yeah, so what I'm thinking about is the fact that those two women who were supporting you had to even pay attention to what was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And like so easily it can be like, oh, I didn't even notice, or people are into their own world.
Yep.
And even if they did notice, they would then have to come together and agree and then come to you. Right. And so like you talked about this being silent, kind of going back to the beginning of this. And I also want to point out like a big part of racial battle fatigue is silence, just staying quiet.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I'm glad to hear that you had some support going through that.
Exactly. Because I'm telling you, as soon as I stepped on campus, it had gotten to the point that my left eye would run. Just my left eye would just run water. And they told me it was the stress, the level of stress that I was under. It was only my left eye, which was completely crazy. So those two ladies supported me. We would meet before the meeting. That's how we start doing things. We would meet before the meeting, a day or two before the meeting, and discuss what we needed to discuss. So, and I don't think I've ever told anybody that part either. I didn't tell anybody that. So you're the first time you got it hot off the press.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But there are ways. I mean, it's interesting that the constant strategizing that has to happen in order for people of color to be heard, in order for their stories or their contributions not to be erased. That's what the issue is. The second thing that happened that was major was we did a program called Each One Teach One, and it was with the churches, the local churches, and students at A&M. And we went into the communities and the churches. We even met at the park, because we were trying to start a tutorial program and bring up the scores. So we needed the pastors to open their churches, and you know what I mean, and have those opportunities where tutors would come in.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Wow.
I worked with the people at central office for this program with some professors at Texas A&M as well. And this was even before I was attending there. And I almost called the principal's name. She made the mistake of, in public, in front of the community, second guessing me like that.
Oh.
And like, no, we're not doing this. And we had already said, here's all the things that we're going to do. And so the assistant superintendent called her to the central office and said, you will apologize, or or else, basically.
Wow.
You will apologize and don't like do this ever again. We because the assistant soup was in our meetings, so she knew exactly what we were discussing, and she knew exactly what was going on. So the principal didn't know everything that was going on, but even then she was in the habit of doing this. So I didn't learn until after. I thought we were turning a corner for real when she said, well, I need to talk to you after the meeting. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. And she said, with tears, I need to apologize to you. Oh, for what? Well, what happened, that night, I shouldn't have said this. Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that. Well, I didn't learn until later. She wasn't apologizing out of her heart. It was because she was made to do so.
Of course.
So that put her on notice that she was being watched, though, because the superintendent asked me later, assistant superintendent asked me later, did she apologize? So that's how I said, oh, you told her to come and apologize. Oh, okay, that makes sense to me, So and I let her know it happens all the time, though. And so she was on notice that she was being watched. So the third thing that happened was we got a brand new superintendent, and he came in swinging a big bat. There was a lot of nepotism, and that was the reason why this individual was able to do what she did to people, was because no one would do anything to it. They were all her friends.
Mm-hmm.
All, and I'm saying nepotism from the grandmother worked at the district, the grandfather worked there, the aunts, the uncles, like big.
Wow.
Yeah, and they all had big positions. And this new superintendent came in and he said, I didn't come in to be the good old boy network. And I'm telling you, with so many people within 2 years that had retired, lost their jobs, he was not kidding. And the things she would do to me, I could go there because I had nowhere to go prior to. And I actually wrote it all up, the treatment that I had. It was so bad. If I said, there was 2 of us at that time. We split. He had 6th grade. I had, and half of 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I had half of 7th and part of 8th grade. He also showed dogs. So he had frequent dog shows on Fridays. Now we're both on duty.
Mm-hmm.
somehow or another, he would say, "Oh, I have a show this weekend. I need to leave at 2. Is it all right? I'm just letting y'all know, is it all right if I go?" "Oh, absolutely, you can go."
Wait, can you just clarify? You said he had dog showings on the weekends, and this is why he's leaving during a work day.
Yes, you heard me clearly. So I just get to clarify. Yes. So he would leave sometimes, and she said, "Oh, no worries, I'll cover your duty. I got it." So I had one of the kids or something had something, and I said, "I need to know if I can leave early to go." No. As I'm speaking the words out of my mouth, it was no.
Wow.
Um, Excuse me, but here's the thing. I'm leaving. I am.
Yeah.
I need somebody to cover, and you have to get somebody to cover if you leave. Oh, okay. So when our new superintendent came in, um, it was a whole new ball game. It was a whole new ball game. And I wrote up everything. I was told write up everything that has transpired. And so I did. And I said, and the reason, well, why didn't you make these um, complaints before? Why didn't you make these charges before? I said, because nothing would have been done.
Yep.
Before I got back to the office, the paper was already, the phone call would have been made and the paper was already torn up.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. There was nowhere to go. So I had asked another time, I said, "I need to leave and do something." No. And I said, "You know what?" And this shocked them, I'm sure, because I spoke up. I said, "You know what? I don't know what he's saying." And I called his name. I said, "I don't know what he's saying, but whatever he's saying to leave, that's what I'm saying that I need to leave for."
Yep.
I know that's right.
This is not working for me. Meetings over, I go back to my office. She shows up just tears. "Well, I'm so sorry. You could really have my job for this." And I said, "You know what? I don't want your job. What I want you to do is be fair and be equitable. That's what I've always wanted you to do, is just be fair, be equitable." So it turns out all of her friends that was in central office either, either retired or they we called them the henchmen. When the henchmen showed up on campus, somebody was leaving because they had a henchman. They had one, and when this man showed up on campus, somebody was leaving, and he showed up for her.
Mm.
Showed up before for another teacher, and they said, "Here's what we're seeing. Here are the reports." His thing was, you can do one of two things. You can resign or you can be fired. Now think about it. If you're fired, how that would look on your record, right? That was his mode. Well, he showed up for her. And that's when she came to me saying, "I could be fired for this. If there's one more thing, I could be fired." And that's when I thought, you could have my job. I don't want your job. I don't. I just want you to be fair. I want you to do what's right. And within a year or so, they stayed on our campus, and she ended up resigning. And the superintendent came over and basically said, "Oh, she's retiring, and let's give her a hand for her service to our district," and that kind of thing. So that essentially was, after she left, I was still there. And so that is, I guess, part one to the segment. To the first part, I was still there. We got another principal, and the other AP also left. big, switch up, big, a lot of people leaving and that kind of thing. So that that part right there, I don't wish that on anybody. It was one of the most stressful times of my life. I stuck through it though. For 11 years, I stuck through it. And so, I'm not sure what you want me to do here. Do you want me to take a break or?
Yeah, we'll take a break right now and then we'll finish up the rest of your story and talk about your family and like what you're doing now
Okay.
when we're done with our break.
All right.
We are deeply grateful for all your support these last few years. Your engagement on social media, your downloads, and your enthusiasm have kept us going since we started this Too Dope adventure nearly 5 years ago. Right, Kev?
Yes, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your ongoing support of the content that remixes the conversation about race, power, and education. We have big hopes and dreams that you have inspired, and with your support, those dreams begin to take shape in reality. In the coming weeks, you will learn about projects that we can now go forward with because you stepped up.
Yeah, we're so happy. Of course, we still have numerous projects filed away that are awaiting your support. You can support these projects by visiting patreon.com/2dopeteachers. Patrons who join at the 2dope level get a 2dope Nation sticker. And what's better than stickers? It's designed by local artist Sham. And for a limited time, the next 5 2dope patrons will get a copy of Cornelius Miner's book, We Got This. What? What a deal.
Hey, that is, and it's signed.
That's right, and it's signed.
Patrons will enjoy special access to us in the form of Ask Me Anything threads, throwback old episodes, occasional Zoom meetings, and sneak previews to upcoming work and public appearances. Our upcoming podcast series, The Exit Interview, featuring the brilliant Asia Lyons, which highlights the stories of Black teachers who were forced out of teaching, is only possible because of our patrons.
I can't wait. It's going to be so dope. So we asked and you responded. We look forward to growing and learning with you. Let's remix this conversation on race, power, and education.
All right, thank you so much, Donna, for like starting off us and starting us off, sharing part of your story. So yeah, now you said that was just the first part. So and you kind of trudged through that for 11 years. Again, we'd love to hear the next part and like how, this whole time, what was going on with your family? What kind of conversations were your friends having with you? Support systems, lack of support. If you had like union help, if there was a union, we'd love to hear all that.
Yeah.
So in Texas, we are not a union. I will tell you that I had some super friends, some um, praying people in my life. I had my pastor, strong support system. I would talk to him about what was going on. He was also involved in the district, so he knew about a lot of things that was going on. Um, During the time we had, as I said, a new superintendent. Um, I want to say this though, because I had a friend of mine who came to me one day and she said, and now she didn't even know what all was going on. She didn't even know. And one of the things she told me, she said, they need to be careful how they're treating God's people. And she said, because some of them will get sick and some of them will die.
Mm.
I was like, okay. And this person I trusted their words because they had told me some other things a while back. Like I was in a grocery store, came in a grocery store, and they said, "Oh, the Lord sent me to tell you X," and it was like exactly what I was going through at
Yep.
the time, and so it was right on point. So when this person spoke, right, I just was like, okay, well, I want to tell you that um I'm just a lot of things I'm not even just putting out there, but I will say a couple of the teachers had said that I was showing favoritism to the African American students and that they would be in my office instead of going to class.
Uh-huh.
So, which wasn't true. It wasn't true. And so I told him, I said, let me tell you about my day. I said, I came in this morning, I put my things in my office, and I left to go to duty right after, got my radio, got my, stuff. I left to go to duty. Right after duty, I went to art meetings. I've been in art meetings from 8 o'clock until noon, one art meeting after the other. I haven't even been in my office. So I can't tell you who's in there, and who's not. I can tell you my secretary may be there, but as far as any students there, I cannot tell you that. I said, and after I left the last art at 12:30, I came straight to duty, lunch duty again. And now this is the first time I've been in my office when you walked in. Like I literally opened the door, unlocked the door. So but they had made a report to the superintendent that this is what was going on. And so we had to have a hearing about this. And so in the hearing, I told them exactly that. I am ready in my office. Here's
Yeah.
where I am, right? Can I say something?
Oh no, I was just agreeing. I was just like amazed and agreeing with you. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I want to tell you, and so after that hearing, and they had district personnel there as well. So after that hearing, when it was found that there was absolutely no basis for their accusations, that particular teacher got cancer.
Huh.
Cancer. The other teacher that was in league with her, she got fibromyalgia. I think is how you say it.
Uh-huh.
So she got sick, right? So right after the principal had resigned, she waiting on her husband to come take her to the doctor because she didn't feel well. Before he got to the house, she had died.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So my friend that told me they better be careful. Some of them will get sick and some of them shall die.
Hmm.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So fast forward to now there's another principal. Not only that, there's another AP. Out of both of them, I have more years. So I'm training the new AP. Also keeping up with all of the district mandates, on and on it goes. I'm telling my husband each of these things as they go along.
Yeah.
And here's what's going on now. Here's what's going on now. And so and meanwhile, I've started my doctorate program. I'm EDD at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Started my doctorate program. So this is my day, literally. I'm training I'm doing all the duty stuff, the art stuff. I'm training the new AP, working reports. I got the awesomest secretary ever, like keeping everything running and organized. And like literally, I would take home my folders for referrals. I would take them home at night, go ahead and work them up, bring them back. And I said, okay, this is the order I need to see kids as soon as the bell rings at 8:05. This is the order I need to see kids. Send me 5 at a time. That's how quick it's going. send me 5 of them at a time, and then I call the parents and make sure. I always make sure I call parents. I want you to know your child did X. They're gonna be, I got 30 minutes, hour, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it like that until classes let out. I'd be in the hallway, then I'm back. Okay, let's get the next, whatever, 15, 20.
Yep.
And so that's how I was working. Plus, I'm training this other guy. And this new principal, I thought we were doing good.
Yep.
He, the clerk quit in the middle of the year. The attendance clerk quit. And so over Christmas break, I'm in bed with pneumonia. And she calls me, Miss Drury, Dr. So-and-so asked me if I wanted to be the new attendance clerk. And I said, well, what do you want to do? She said, oh, I don't want to do that. I love working for you. We're a good team. I want to stay there. I said, well, then just tell him, let him know. So she calls me back maybe an hour or so later. And she said, I got a hold of him, and he said to her, oh, I wasn't asking. Like, you're going to be the attendance clerk. And don't tell Miss Drury. Don't tell me.
Wow.
So I'm calling in people like they need an attendance clerk. I'm still, because he hadn't told me. So I'm sending in people like, why don't you call in and apply for that job? Why don't you call in? Meanwhile, our little system that we had, she's trying to do that job. She's trying to be over here as a secretary. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so done. I am just so done with this. And so I was telling people to come up in the interview for the attendance clerk. He asked her, did you tell Miss Drury? Did you tell her that you're going to be the attendance clerk? He still didn't tell me. School session, he still hadn't told me. Out of his mouth. So, and then he has this report. So he says in the meeting, we have this major report that we have to get done. This person that does this, I know, will make sure that everything is accurate. We'll make sure that it's all done on time. And when they said, who can do this report? I thought about Miss Drury. I think you do wonderful at doing this report. I'm running your school right now, right?
Yeah.
But what it was that the technology department, the district technology department, needed someone to go into every classroom and count all of the technology in every classroom. Now we have three stories and two outer buildings.
Yep.
With classrooms. They want me to stop everything that I'm doing, go to every single classroom, count every computer, every laptop, every cord, everything.
Wait. Can we just pause for a second?
Sure.
I know I keep stopping you, but I'm just, so you've been assigned this job that obviously it sounds like anyone can do. Yes, your secretary has been assigned to do the attendance without your knowing. And It's just like macroaggression after macroaggression.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. And the principal is white, Latinx?
He's white male. He's white
Okay.
male at this point. And
you thought you all were good to go.
Yes. I mean, every meeting, everything, he would say, Ms. Drury, I want you to present this to the team. I want you to, he was like, yeah, we could do it. Come on.
Yep.
Like, I thought he was being really supportive. We got to that point. And he knew that there was like some schism between I and the old AP. So offices across from each other, so we would work together, right? It was a smart move. It was a smart move. And we did. We worked together. Because one of the things, I'm very professional. You know, my record is still clean.
Yep.
But my folder is still clean. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so so fast forward, we got a new guy now. It's a new year, got a new AP. He came straight out of the classroom. Doesn't know anything. Had never really, other than sat in on art. He doesn't know any of the training, any of the information. So he's asking me, what should I do about this? What should I do about that? So I'm training him, telling him, you know, in the meantime, here's, you know, I come home. Of course, we have football games, choir, whatever else we have after school. We've assigned administrators to do that. So some days I wouldn't get home until 6, 7 at night, right? After attending all of these events, making sure all the kids get home and so on. I do my referrals, I do my homework. I go to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm back up at 6 o'clock in the morning, be at school at 7. It was like that that was my life.
Wow.
It was on average 3 to 4 hours of sleep per night. So my husband is aware of this. You know?
Sure.
One day after my new principal tells me that they need somebody to count the technology, I told my husband, I said, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that. So let me say something. The year prior to that, I was like, Lord, I really need to leave this place. I've had enough. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything from him. We communicate and I didn't hear anything. So I call it forcing his hand. I took everything out of my office. I called my husband, come get my little mini fridge. I mean, there was nothing left but dust when I left out of there.
Amen.
I took everything out and I was like, end of the summer came, it's time to go back to work. I said, okay, Lord, I'm waiting for your direction. I got this word. I didn't tell you to leave.
Wow.
Right. I took everything, put it back in my office, people come by like, oh, you changed your office around. It looks so, you know. Now my office was always nice because I'm a nester, but I put everything back in, changed stuff around, everything. So now we're from April to December. I've gotten sick over December again. Every December I'd be sick. Every December when school was out. It's like when I slowed down, I got sick.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
I've heard about that. I've heard that's very common. Yep, exactly, Kevin.
Yeah. So in January is when, okay, now I come back to school. I don't have a secretary either. And, you know, and he's like, the principal is like, well, what's going on with your office? It's just, nobody's in there. Nope. You took the wheels off the bus and now you're expecting the bus to roll. It's not. You know, you took the wheels off the bus. What is it that you expect from me to do? So, and then the teachers didn't make it any better because the kids would say they knew my schedule better than the teachers did. Tell the kids, if you don't stop that, you're going to go to the office. Oh, okay, let me go to the office then. Because they knew I wasn't there.
Yep.
So I had to have a meeting to tell the teachers, stop doing that. They are acting up so that you can send them to the office because it's more interesting.
Yep.
Keep them in the classroom. Let that be their punishment that they in the classroom. So anyhow, so I'm sitting there and I'll never forget, it was in January. I just got off duty, got the radio. Miss Druery, this is Dr. So-and-so. Can you come to my office? And I said, oh, absolutely. I'll be right there. So I go to the office. Well, Miss Druery, we've got to get started on this project. And, you know, we're up against the deadline and yeah. So I go back to my office And I listen. I go back to my office. I sit down, put my radio down. I said, Lord, when can I leave this place? I heard him say, you can leave now.
Huh.
That's exactly what I did. I said, what now? You can leave now.
Now.
I got my radio. This is Drury, the the guy that does our janitorial work. I called him.
Yes.
Mr. So-and-so, when you get a moment, can you come to my office, please?
It's happening now?
Yeah, Miss Drury, I'll be there as soon as I can. Thank you, sir. When he come, I said, I need some boxes.
Woo.
I need some boxes. Now, I hadn't told my husband at all, but I knew I was leaving. It was settled in my spirit. I knew I was. It's January, right? And so he brought me by. He was like, wow. I said, I need you to keep it quiet, but I've gotten my orders that I can leave. And, whenever you can, just as you get come, bring some boxes to me. So that evening I get home and I tell my husband, so this is the latest thing that happened and here's what's going on. Now I had not mentioned like, this is what the Lord said and we're going to do what the Lord, I had not. But I told him, I said, they want me to do this. And Dr. So-and-so called me to his office and said this. And I almost said his name. And he said, no, that's enough. You go in there tomorrow and you tell him you resign. Yeah.
Yep.
He just was like, that's enough. You're done. You're done. So that is your question too. Just being supportive. My family was just, this is what's going to happen and you're done. So here's the funny part though. When I went in, I put in my notice, right? He calls me to the office. We need to go ahead and get started on this project. On the way to his office, because he called me, I said, I'm on my way. On the way to his office, I stopped by my friend who's a counselor. And I'm leaving. She's like, what? And so I closed the door. I'm like, shh, be quiet. I got to go tell him.
Yes.
Again. So I got to go tell him I said, what should I say? And she says, you because of health reasons. I said, that is true because
Yep.
True. So I go over, he gives me the spiel again about how we need somebody that's accurate, somebody pays attention to detail, So I listen, and then I said, well, I need to tell you something. I'm resigning. So that was kind of the last straw, was that report.
Yes.
Kind of the last straw. But the politically correct was that, one, I'm leaving because of my health, truly, and personal reasons is what I said. Because a month or two prior, we had almost lost my granddaughter. And I was spending the nights at the hospital with her and then coming to work, still not going to be to the point that hardly anybody even knew what was going on, but she had been in the hospital for an extended period of time. I never missed a beat on anything that I needed to do. So they didn't even know. A lot of people didn't even know. But when I gave him the news, he was typing like, I don't even want to hear your response, not even paying attention. He didn't say that, but it was his actions that he was turned away from me, typing into the computer until I said, I need to tell you something. I'm resigning. He stopped. What? You're resigning? What?
No.
The man started crying. He started crying. Is there anything I could do to have you stay? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about everything. Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I could do? I know I shouldn't say that because you're resigning for health reasons, but is there anything? The rest of the day, I got nothing done. He stayed in my office. Like, well, are you going, when are you going to tell central office? Were you tell them, you want me to tell them? I said, oh, I'll tell them. Oh, okay. Well, we need to make an announcement to the faculty. He went and called, like, stopped immediately, went to in the middle of class and said, teachers, we have an emergency faculty meeting. We need every teacher there. If you have tutorials, you can't have them today. Like, yeah, just stop the press. We have an emergency faculty meeting. And he came in, looked around, still had duty, went to duty, came in, he looked around, da-da-da. Oh, not all of our teachers aren't here. He went back to the microphone, to the speaker. Teachers, I need everybody here in the cafeteria now, please. Release your students if you have any out the building. I need every teacher here. So he wanted initially to put me on the spot and, like, you're going to face your accusers or your teachers.
You have to publicly resign in front of the community.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
But what happened, I had a lot of friends in the room, though.
Yes.
He didn't know that I had people who I had talked to. I had teachers who lost parents or gotten divorces or different things. I'm like, what can I do for you? I'm going to send you lunch, or your parents died. It's in a whole nother city. I'm calling Jason's Deli. They're delivering food to you. What's the best day? You know that I'm building a community.
Yes.
Right? So he just thought, I don't know what all he thought. But anyway, when he said, well, I need to thank y'all for coming. I need to tell you all that Ms. Druery is resigning. And they were like, oh, what? Listen, some teachers broke down crying. Then the majority in the room stood up and they gave me a standing ovation. Like, oh my gosh, we cannot believe it, because I had been there so long. They couldn't believe it. And some of them, my good friends, were like, you got out of here before I did,
Yes.
So that's essentially what happened. I was working on an EDD. I switched over to PhD, went to full time because we could only take classes on Saturdays with the EDD.
Yeah.
People in my program were administrators or in the district, so we attended classes on Saturday. Now I can take more classes, get through quicker, and switch. So I switched to PhD. And listen, this is the thing right here was, so I get a notice. I don't even know. I can't even tell you. It was an email. I think it was an email that said, if anybody wants to go to Africa for abroad, sign up with so-and-so. The day I read the email, I called them. They said, you're our absolute last person that we're taking.
There we go.
I ended up going to Africa that summer, studying abroad for 3 weeks. I did not realize how much I needed it.
Yes.
Like an entire week just to relax, just to not be stressed, not to say, okay, what I need to go, what I need to do, what do I need to. It took a whole week before I was able to de-stress. And it was almost like a weight had lifted off of my back. It was a huge, I cannot tell you, it felt like a 50-pound weight, 100-pound weight that I was carrying around on my back every single day. That as soon as that decision was made, it was discernible how much of it lifted off of me. I didn't realize how much I was carrying. So that's what I've been doing. I became a GA, which I wish I'd have done that sooner, because as a GA, your classes get paid for, and you get a small stipend. And so I was like, I could live with that. And that's what I did. I was a GA for a year or two. And then the person that the professor that I worked for text me or call me and say, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm in the lab. Can you meet me in my office?" And I said, "Sure." When? She said, "I'll be there in about 10-15 minutes." Okay, I'll meet you up there. I go up there, there's like 5-6 people waiting for her. They said, her secretary said, "Who do you want to see first?" And she said, "Donna, let me see Donna, come in." She came in, closed the door. She said, "I have a job for you." I need you to work full time. Can you do it? I said, "Well, I don't know." She's like, "No, you can do it. You can do it. Say yes." And so nevertheless, I said, "Well," she said, "I can't talk all about it now. I'll talk about it because I got all these other people, but come back, but say yes." And I said, "Well, I think I say yes, but I need some more information." So anyway, for the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been working for her on a grant full time, as I said, doing professional development for teachers all across the state of Texas. And the funniest thing is that I work with some of the same teachers that I was their AP.
Yes,
That's
I
right.
love that.
That's
Full
right.
circle.
Yeah. So full circle had one of them contact me on a professional development I did and was like, "It's so good to reconnect with you." And so full circle, international conferences, national
Wow.
conferences. I will say that God has certainly opened doors for me. And so that's what I'm doing. And as you heard, or Asia, you did, I defend on March the 11th.
Yes.
So,
2 weeks.
so I'm excited.
A little less than 2 weeks.
Yes.
Uh,
So
Can you tell us what your topic is, please?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us what your topic is for your dissertation?
Yes, absolutely. It is navigating. It's charter schools and school choice is what I'm working on. And the title of it is Navigating School Choice, Decisions That Women of Color Make in Charter Schools for Their Children's Education in Texas.
Fascinating topic. Fascinating.
Say it one more time just in case people missed it because we broke up a little
Navigating
bit.
School Choice, Decisions That Women of Color Make in Seeking Charter Schools for Their Children's Education in Texas. So our education system is a little bit different than, say, Louisiana and Detroit and some other places. We actually have for real choice, in that if you leave the neighborhood public school, you can choose to go to 4 or 5 other charter schools that are here in the city. And so you're not just assigned to a charter school. That's the difference. And you don't have to like apply to go. You could just apply to that particular school that you're interested in. And if they have room, they take you. But what's interesting is that charter schools nationally have more Black and Latinx students than public schools and so on. And Texas mirrors that information.
Yes.
So that, it's just nationally they're more African American, and so the question is, why are they leaving public schools to attend charter schools?
Yep.
And I think it's an unintended action that is the reason why there's, I will say, a browning in the schools, in the charter schools, that it is more people of color, is because they're telling their friends and their families, and and some of them are upset with the school district.
Yep.
And they're like, one of my themes is, I won't go back to that place.
Yep.
I knew my child wasn't going back to that school.
Mm-hmm.
Adamant about it. So that part of it is here's this other school here, they're going over here, my child loves it, let me tell my friend, let me tell my cousin, they're looking for somewhere for their child to go, here's where I am. And so it's unintended, I think, that it's, more students of color are enrolling there. And so the public school system, which I am a product of, I worked there for 15 years. They need to me, to consider what these parents are saying.
Yeah. Yep.
Why they're leaving, because they're definitely voting with their feet, and that they're leaving with and they're taking their money basically with them.
Yep.
So it's a financial hardship for the school districts, but it's interesting. So I've interviewed 8 parents. They're all women of color, 4 African American females, and 4 Latinx Hispanic females, and they're all saying the same thing. Either their child was bullied in one case, school wouldn't do anything about it. One parent they lost the pre-K child on the bus twice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the first time it was like, okay, we understand it's the first week of school. They're confused. The second time it happened, it was like the principal was not as concerned. The parent was over there all the time. And at the end of the year, they said, oh, by the way, your child needs to repeat pre-K. And she said, I was there all the time. They could have told me. I knew my child was going back to that school.
Yep.
I got the quote from, so it was just that they felt that the teachers didn't care about their child. And you could just see this thread. Oh, I told my cousin, I told my friend, I told my, you could just see the thread through that.
No, that makes sense. We see a lot of that in Denver, where it really is word of mouth. It's family, and it's based on where you've had a good experience and where you don't. And I think the difference is that maybe some charters or even schools that are successful, they're more responsive to the family's needs.
Right.
And
it's not that the public school isn't doing that. I think they're not publicizing it.
Yeah.
But some of it is true. Like I'll just say this, when the coronavirus hit, all of a sudden they got all these laptops in the public school that they were able to make available to kids. I mean, I saw the lines.
Yep.
District distribution office is right next to McDonald's, right? I go in to get a tea, and there's this long line wrapped around the building, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm not in the district anymore, so what's going on right here? I'm asking parents. Oh, they're giving out laptops. So you mean to tell me they have laptops and nobody could get them? Where'd they get them from? So I'm looking at that part of it, that you already had these things available. However, in the charter school, these kids already have laptops.
Yep.
They're like, every kid gets a laptop and every kid gets this. Lastly, I interviewed a parent who she's a blended family. They have 2 children that were in public school, who's her husband's sons. He has custody of. And then she had 2 children, right? And her 2 children go to the charter school. His 2 children go to the public school. His 2 children, 5th grade and 4th grade. Her 2 children, 3rd and 1st. The 3rd grader who's at the charter school is teaching the 5th grader math. Tutor. She is his tutor. She's like, oh, I did that. Let me show you how to do it. So it's like, wow. So that's why she says he can do whatever he wants with his. Mine are going to the charter school. And so, yeah, that part that is that they're even academically, they're working on things that are at 1 to 2 levels ahead. So
wow. Wow.
So anyway, I've come full circle. I'm thank God. I don't wish the things that I've gone through on anybody. But they built me into a strong, resilient individual with an eye towards social justice and inclusiveness rather than exclusiveness. So I would say that even though I would not wish it on anybody. Thankfully, I was in a position that I was able to walk away. I want to say one more testimony real quick. I resigned effective January the 15th, and this might be important to somebody. I resigned effective January the 15th. Just so happened a friend of mine called me and said, hey, what are you doing? We went through, I said, well, I've resigned. And she said, do you know if you work until the 31st, you get a whole calendar year? Know that. Nobody ever told me that. And central office had my letter. So I called over there, and everybody that could have told me anything about it was in the meeting. Everybody. So I talked to the secretary, who was one of my friends, and I said, well, is it true that if I wait until the 31st, it's another year? She said, Miss Druery, when I saw your letter, I wonder why you did that. Nobody had told me. I said, well, what do I need to do to change it? Because I can work 2 more weeks. What do I need to do to change it? She said, we need something in writing. That's me typing, right?
Yep.
While we were yet on the phone talking about it, I said, do you have it? And she said, yes, I do. I'll make the corrections.
There we go.
Yeah. And I heard it through the grapevine that they were not happy with her because I was able to get it in writing, but everybody that could have told me no was not there.
Didn't say anything.
Every person that could have told me no, you can't change it, was not there.
And your friend was there to answer the phone.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep. So it was a lot of heartaches, a lot of tears, a lot of different things that I've gone through. But on the other side, I've just, in the last year or two, maybe a couple of years, been able to talk about it.
I bet.
Truly. And write about it. Just in the last couple of years, because it was just so heavy.
Yeah, no.
Cathartic and therapeutic, and I want to thank you all for that.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
We thank you for sharing your story. It's a powerful one, and I think it's that example, of the racial battle fatigue, and it's the constant fights, and how your faith aided you in that,
Yes.
And, is very impressive, and I think it goes to show that we all need something, because this is not easy. I think when you are a Black educator, it's not easy.
Right. You are exactly right. Exactly.
All right. Well, this is the end of episode 3 of the exit interview. Thank you so much, Donna, for sharing your story. Yeah, and so that's it. Thank you, Kevin. Any last words?
No, just thanks a lot, Donna. We appreciate it, and we will be having you lifted up in prayer for March 11th. Because we know you're going to do your thing as you can. We know it's going to be big celebrations, positive energy headed towards College Station.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. So y'all have a good night, and if there's anything else I can do, let me know.
All right, thank you.
We'll stay in touch. I like to
There's